It's 102. If anybody else comes in, Katie, if you don't mind, just click and admit. But I guess we can go ahead and start. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's I.C.E. office hours, taking a look at educational resources. Before we really get in, I'll just go ahead and do a brief introduction of the staff on today's call. My name is Devontae Newsom. I am a membership and operations senior associate here with I.C.E. We also have Katie Scott, who is the education senior manager for I.C.E. And we also have Linda Anguish on today's call, who is the director of the accreditation services and also a member of the I.C.E. CCP certification team. Also, before we get in, I do have just a brief agenda of what we're going to be taking a look at today. We're really going to be taking a look at where you might find our I.C.E. educational resources on our website. We'll be taking a deeper dive into the online courses section of the website. We'll have a brief intro of the I.C.E. CCP with Linda Anguish, and we'll also have a little bit of discussion of what you might expect education-wise at the I.C.E. exchange. I do want this to be an open meeting, but if everyone can save their questions for the end of the call, but feel free to type in any questions into the chat. We'll log those and we'll make sure to get back to them at the end of the call. But any live questions, please save for the end of the presentation. Perfect, perfect. Awesome. So really quickly, as I had just introduced everyone here, on our I.C.E. website, from our homepage on our About tab, you can find a Contact Us page with the I.C.E. staff members, and you can get our contacts here if you needed to reach out to us directly at any time. Perfect. Well, really starting off today's call with where you might find some I.C.E. educational resources. The most obvious section of our website would be here on our education tab. So here on our education tab, we're really going to be looking at three things here: live and on-demand webinars, online courses, and live workshops. Starting with live and on-demand workshops, here is on this page, you will find any upcoming live webinars. And if our registrations were open, you'd be able to click on that and register for any webinars that are upcoming. You can also refer back to any past recorded webinars. We have 22 to 21 to actually all the way down to 2020. Of course, there are some fees associated with these past webinars. Some of them are free for members. So if you do have any time, feel free to revert back to this page and then go through these, and you might find something useful for yourself or for your organization. Awesome, awesome. Back a page. Also, from this education tab, we have the live workshops. Here, you would find any upcoming live workshops. You'll be able to register here. There is one that's upcoming. It's actually hosted by IAS, and this will be going over the ISO IEC 17024. Yeah. We'll have workshops. We'll have our upcoming workshops here. You can click to learn more to find out about any workshops, but we do update this as we have workshops come up. And really quickly, Katie, if you don't mind, you know, how do we get webinar and workshop topics?
Yeah, sure. So I work with our education committee, they're I.C.E. members, and every year we brainstorm webinar topics for the following year. And so through that process too, we come up with a topic and some potential speakers, and we do outreach and then schedule webinars. But we do schedule them throughout the year. If there's ever any topics you really want to see, you're always welcome to shoot me an email. and share a recommendation, I can share it back with the committee, or if I know it's something that's in the works, I can definitely share that information with you as well. And then for our workshops too, right, we always host, I think, 3 NCCA accreditation workshops. That's something we always offer. They're typically offered in February, May, and September of every year. We always do a psychometrics workshop because we know that's just an ongoing need of really getting the basic foundations of that psychometric content and, knowing how to develop a test. And then we do come up with other topics throughout the year. Like we've been brainstorming. We know that we have our international online course, and we know that if you're seeking to go internationally, you have very specific and unique needs. So we're having a discussion with like our international committee about them hosting kind of a flipped classroom where you could take the course and then meet like weekly. So you could have a really good, nice discussion about the content and really the specific information that meets your needs. So again, like if there's any questions, topics, information you're interested in learning more about, please never hesitate to reach out to me. I know our committee members love to figure out, what topics are important for people. And then we always just love having like meeting and talking with y'all.
Awesome, awesome. As you know, a lot of our members are part of, larger organizations that might have, a lot of their staff as members with I.C.E accounts. Do we really do anything for, multiple parties from one organization looking to take any of these, workshops, webinars, or courses as far pricing wise?
Yeah, so for our workshops, we usually always typically offer a discount on the second registration if they want to attend from the same organization. So it's usually an option for purchasing it, but I always recommend too, if you're going to have like a large number of people, to reach out to I.C.E staff. We always have like a reference in our customer service, usually on the bottom of our web pages, to reach out to our info box. And we're happy to have a conversation with you too as well for that. And then I also want to make a plug too, though, for Devontae, you briefly mentioned our on-demand webinars. I know you're going to show them later too, how to find them in the online store, but a number of those are free for members as well. We also host an annual free member webinar every March, and then we've been hosting more town halls as well. And that's a great place too to go and get some education to meet your needs. And I think a nice member benefit is to access webinars from previous years to kind of refresh some of your content. But I know you're about to share too a little more, Devontae, about some other resources just in general available, I know, to members and just to everyone, not just members.
Yeah, definitely. Before I get into that, I also didn't want to forget about this tab here. We have this tab for our online courses. These are online self-paced courses offered from I.C.E. We will be doing a deeper dive, but I did want to make sure that I called that out, that this is also available through this education tab here. Perfect, perfect. Another area you might be able to find some I.C.E education resources is through our community tab and offered from our public members. One of I.C.E's committees is for public members, and every quarter our public members put on a quarterly network call that is open to all parties. And here the public members, put on discussion topics where they'll have presenters that will discuss and go in detail about the topic and really present on the topic in full detail. We actually have a quarterly public call coming up next week, June 14th, which is a Tuesday, from 1 p.m. Eastern time to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And this topic is going to be, what should public members know about recertification? Again, this meeting is open to everyone. So if you would like to join, feel free to RSVP. Feel free to send me an email or send an email to info@credentialingexcellence.org, and I will get you RSVP'd for this meeting. Awesome. So another place we can find some educational resources from our homepage, I'll show you how to get here, is through our credentialing insights. We have a tab at the top of our website for credentialing insights. here, you can come in here, you can see any articles that have been posted. You can also get access to the I.C.E. podcast, where you might be able to find some very engaging content that you might enjoy as well. Katie, I know that we offer our podcast here through the Credentialing Insights page. Is there any outside resources where, someone might be able to listen to our I.C.E. podcast?
Yeah, so we publish our podcasts to Apple and Google podcast platforms, but also Spotify and Anchor. So if you subscribe or download those on your phone, then you can also find I.C.E. there and listen to our podcast there. But as I was saying, I think Credentialing Insights and the podcast are just great free resources for anyone, right? There's no member benefit, like there's no firewall to access that information. So we always encourage people to check here. So there's lots of great resources. And I think we publish an article about once a week. So it stays a lot of fresh content too.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, definitely a lot of great content here. So we do have some other resources that you might find beneficial. From our I.C.E. website, again, at the top, you'll find a resources tab. On this resources tab, we actually have a number of different toolkits that you might find a lot of information from. If you look at this left side menu here, you'll see under the government affairs, we have a government affairs toolkit. We have a military and veterans toolkit. We have an international toolkit, also a micro-credentialing toolkit. So, if you check out any one of these on your own time, you might find a lot of wealth of information for you, for your organization, for someone that you know. So this is also really a great section of the website to find some educational content. Lastly, I do want to call out from our I.C.E. homepage, we do have this news and events section here. On this news and events section, we do update this periodically with any events that might be coming up. So, if we had a webinar coming up, as you can see, the Public Member Network call is here, I.C.E. office hours is here. You might be able to reference this for, any educational events that might be coming up or any educational content that you might want to explore under the news section. You would also be able to see this type of content from our I.C.E. weekly email, in which we do have a reference to upcoming events as well. But at any point in time, if you really had any questions about anything that we might offer, I do suggest going into the site search here and kind of just typing in a keyword and see what comes up. And, depending on what you type in, it will explore a whole website and pull any resources that we have on that keyword, on that topic. But another really great place to kind of explore some of the educational content, like some of the past webinars and the workshops and whatnot, would be through our online store. So when you are on your profile page, to get to your profile, here we go, you would just you would log in, obviously. And once you're logged in there, you would just click to my profile. This will take you to your actual profile page. Once you're on your profile page here, you will be able to see a menu to the left-hand side. On this menu, click online store merchandise. So here you'll be able to find a lot more educational resources, educational content. Katie, do you have any tips for everyone here on really how to navigate this online store?
Yeah, so I know we talked a lot about the on-demand resources. We publish white papers, which are free for members. We have research papers. So really, I.C.E. has a lot of resources for you to access. So I know when I'm looking for things, I'll pick a keyword, and in that top bar next to all categories, right, I'll create something like recertification, and I hit search. and it'll pull up any products that are related to that specific topic. But if you're interested in browsing too, on the left-hand side under categories, you can look for under like our top topics, which is accreditation would pull in all the resources. But if you know you want like an on-demand webinar, or you're looking for a white paper because you prefer to read information, then you could select like publications, and that'll pull up anything under a more broad category of, right, say marketing publications that I.C.E has to offer. So there's a couple ways to look for it, but I think really I tend to use a lot is that like search feature at the top. But I think too, if you scroll up, Devante, I think we have a section that says free for members, which is nice too, because that's then it kind of pulls up everything for free. So like if you're just browsing and you're not quite sure what you're interested in, then here's a great, everything we have to offer for you to watch and look at.
Awesome. If you ever really have any questions about navigating this online store, feel free to reach out. Feel free to send us an email. Feel free to give us a call. You'll probably reach me, and I'll definitely spend some time and help you out. Definitely help you out here. So you can get the best out of our I.C.E website, especially if you're a member, or even if you're a non-member, I can help you navigate at any point in time. So as I had mentioned before, I did want to go back to our education tab and really explore our I.C.E online courses. Currently, we offer 4 online self-paced courses. And you know what, Katie, I think I'm going to let you go ahead and speak a little bit more about these.
Yeah, I'd be happy to walk through the different topics that we have to offer, and also like what audiences they're good for. So the first one I'll talk about is the considerations for international expansion. And really all of our online courses are designed to be, they're self-paced and taken at your own time. We do give you 6 months access, and a lot of that too is because I think people need a deadline to know that they have to reach in order to complete the course. So for any reason you find, right, you're not hitting that deadline, then you're always welcome to reach out and contact me. We usually give you 3 more weeks of access. But really, I think we found that if we just leave it wide open, then sometimes people just never complete the course. But what's nice about the considerations for international expansion course, it has 3 modules. And so it's a nice ongoing resource that our international committee, they evaluate it really every year to make sure the content's still current. And this is the one too, I mentioned earlier that we're going to be offering it in a flipped classroom format, because we think it would be really nice to have a discussion feature for that, so people could really get into the meat of the content for the international course. The other ones I wanted to point out is our fundamental topics and certification, and then even our foundations of assessment-based certificate program. So both of these are introductory level courses, and they're really designed for people who are new to those areas. The fundamental topics and certification is really good for orienting new board members or people who are completely new to the field. So it kind of hits some top level areas about the business of certification, policies and procedures, psychometrics. So some nice high level concepts as well to give you a nice introduction to certification. Because we know some people, they all enter our field in different ways, right? So they might have expertise maybe for your marketing, but this is a nice way to get them kind of a better understanding. And then same thing for fundamental topics or foundations of assessment-based certificate programs. It's really focused on our certificate program development, why you might develop a course. It does touch on instructional design, which is a nice aspect of it to get a kind of a better understanding of how to build a good education program. And then the last program I want to talk about is the certificate program for the credentialing specialist. We actually limit enrollment to those 2 times a year. So we open registration in January and July of each year. And this is the deep dive into certification programs. There's 8 modules in the course. I believe it's 8 or 10 hours of content. You take a module and then you take an assessment on it to verify your learning. It's really great because we updated it last year and we connected it to the 3rd edition of the I.C.E. handbook, which I think is also provided with the purchase of the course. But we've aligned the content to reference for additional resources there. So there's just a ton of content in that. And we find it's a really popular class too, and gets a lot of recognition for it. So, but if like I know too, like this is one too, Devontae, that has discounts for the 2nd and 3rd and 4th or more registrants from your organization. So if you want to send one more than one through once, and we'll honor that for the year. So like if you purchase some in January, then you want to add some more on July, then we're happy to extend the discount for the July enrollment. Let's try to see what else. And I'm sure too, when you talk to Linda too, she might talk about how the certificate program is a way to sit for the I.C.E. CCP. So I'm sure Linda will share more about that. So maybe Linda, I'll pass it off to you.
You know what, before we go to Linda, really quickly, Katie, you know, I noticed something here when looking at some of these classes. It did say something about a credit. Is there something that, you know, that's offered, you know, when somebody completes these courses?
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. So I.C.E. is approved by ASAE as a CAE approved provider. And then also credit too for the I.C.E. CCP. I know they just, I'm going to defer to Linda for that directly, but our live webinars and our online courses and even our conference qualify for extended credit for that, and our live workshops too. So if you need a certificate or you need to track any professional development, then we can provide that for you as well.
Perfect, perfect. That's awesome. And then it also looks like we issue a digital badge, right? So for some of these online courses,
Yep.
they would receive a digital badge upon completion.
Yep.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
you help with that too, right, Devontae?
I do. So, you know, if you have any additional questions about these digital badges, please feel free to reach out. If you completed a course and you need access to a previous digital badge, you know, from a course that you've already completed, please feel free to reach out. But, you know, I think having a digital badge is great, something that you can, you know, show to the world, show out to the world. But as Katie had mentioned, we were going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the CCP program. Linda, are you able to kind of give us a good rundown on our I.C.E. CCP?
Yes, thanks, Devontae. I'd like to just apologize first for my voice. I'm a little bit hoarse and I have a bad cough, so I'm hoping it's not going to attack me during my my brief discussion here. I've got my water nearby, and I just apologize in advance. Devontae, you might want to take one step back and just show folks where they can find the information. Yes, under the My Career tab on the I.C.E. website. If you scroll, there's a section on the credentialing career pathway on the certificate program, and a specific section right there, certification program for the credentialing professional. And if you click into the certification program tab, you'll find all this information that I'm going to talk a little bit about here. There's a nice little video that talks about the certification program itself and a description of the purpose of the credential and the background on how it was formed. You know, for a long time, it was the ongoing joke in the credentialing community that we were the profession that dealt with credentialing and we didn't have a credential ourselves. But as many of you that work for credentialing programs know, it's a major time and financial investment, especially for a small organization, to have a certification program. So it was a very thoughtful decision on the part of the board of directors to develop this certification program. And it was also launched with the cooperation and the generous contributions of a bunch of our industry partners, vendors that some of you all work with, and they are listed here. And also probably about 100 fellow certification professionals like yourselves who all volunteered to do things like write items. They did the job analysis for what a credentialing professional would need to know and be assessed on. They did the standard setting, et cetera. So it was really a labor of love from the credentialing community. And that led to the creation of the I.C.E. CCP, the I.C.E. Certified Credentialing Professional. And we launched the first exam in late 2021 and had our first bunch of certified professionals announced in January. We opened the second registration window and have a testing period coming up in June. The registration for that testing period is now closed, but the next opportunity will be in the fall. And that's what we'll do going forward is that we will basically have one testing period offered in the spring and one testing period offered in the fall so that it can fit in nicely with your schedule. Part of the demand for creating this I.C.E. CCP credential was from the credentialing specialist program, folks that had completed that program and were really looking for something now that they had more knowledge and experience, and as well as a designation to put after their name to show folks that they actually had demonstrated their competence through passing a certification exam. So just spend a minute to talk a little bit about the differences between the programs and as Katie referenced before, how one might lead into the other. The credentialing specialist program is open to anyone who wants to learn more about credentialing. And it's ideal for someone new to the field because it really gives you a broad overview of everything that's involved in operating a credentialing program. Each module teaches you, provides training and education. And then at the conclusion of the module, you have an assessment that demonstrates how well you've learned the material that's been presented to you. When you complete all of the modules, you will of course earn the certificate program. You'll earn a certificate demonstrating that you've successfully completed the program. This differs from the I.C.E. CCP in a couple of important ways. The I.C.E. CCP actually has eligibility requirements. And Devontae, if you hop into the registration information section there, the eligibility requirements are published on the website. The eligibility requirements are 3 years of employment experience as a credentialing professional in a credentialing organization, or 6,000 hours if you happen to work part-time. It has to be an equivalent of 3 years. Whereas if you have taken the I.C.E. credentialing specialist certificate, you only need 2 years of full-time employment experience because the certificate can substitute for the knowledge that's provided by an additional year of experience. So it's a combination of either full-time experience in the field or a combination of education and experience, and that would be the I.C.E. credentialing specialist, the CAE, or if you happen to be someone like a psychometrician who potentially holds a master's or a doctorate in a measurement field, et cetera, that can also substitute for 1 year of experience. So that's an important way that the two programs complement each other, but they're different. The I.C.E. credentialing specialist certificate is not required preparation for the certification. If you have the 3+ years of experience, you don't have to have any required preparation in order to sit for the exam. But many individuals who did so mentioned that their completion of the I.C.E. CCP was valuable for them. And some folks plan to do the credentialing specialist course in advance, and then at some point in the future, at some registration point in the future, to sit for the exam. I mentioned before that the I.C.E. credentialing specialist covers the whole spectrum of credentialing. The I.C.E. CCP focuses on some key areas, and Devontae, if you click there to examination content outline in the second area, you'll see that we have a list here of all the topics that are covered on the CCP exam. There are 3 what we call domains or topic areas. Those are governance and resources of a credentialing program operations, and then finally the development, assessment, development, and validation. of the actual assessment of the credential. So there's a number of subtopics on these areas, but you can always refer back to this to see what actually is covered on the exam. And then one final way that there's an important differentiator between the credentialing program and the certification program is that the once you have completed the specialist program, you earn that certificate, and that certificate is yours forever. With the certification program, once you have passed the certification exam, your certification is good for a period of 4 years. And in order to retain your certification and keep using those I.C.E. CCP letters, you do have to complete recertification activities. And that is to make sure that the knowledge and skills that you demonstrated upon passing the exam stay current and active. And so over that 4-year period, you will be asked to accumulate 60 hours of credit in the credentialing field in one of those 3 topic areas we just talked about, and to document those and submit them in order to renew your credential for the next 4-year period. Now, a lot of the things that Devontae and Katie have already talked about, like the webinars and the online education programs, and coming to the I.C.E. exchange, and coming to other other credentialing organizations, conferences that they hold that are related to credentialing, all count towards accumulating credits towards the I.C.E. CCP. So you'll be doing sort of 2 things at once, developing your professional skills and furthering your career, and also earning recertification credit for the I.C.E. CCP. So I think that's about all I have to say at this point, Devontae.
Wow. Well, thanks, Linda. That was really a wealth of knowledge that you dropped a knowledge bomb on us about the I.C.E. CCP, and especially the certificate program. So thank you very much. You know, if anybody ever has any questions specific around the I.C.E. CCP, there is a specific contact for the CCP team. And that would be at certification@credentialingexcellence.org. So with any questions really around the I.C.E. CCP specifically, feel free to reach out to this email here. Again, to get to that, we would be going to My Career. We would be going to the certification program and the registration information. And there we'd be able to find all this great, helpful content about the I.C.E. CCP. Awesome, awesome. And then lastly, you know, before we conclude here, I wanted to take a look at our I.C.E. exchange. And Katie, I had a question for you, you know, specific around, you know, education and the exchange for this year. You know, what kind of education can we expect at the I.C.E. exchange?
Yeah, so I'm very excited about the I.C.E. exchange. I also work with our committee of volunteers to help create the education for this event. We're going to be opening up registration and publishing soon in the next couple weeks, all the education that'll be offered at the conference. But there was a lot of really good proposals. We received the most proposals ever in our history, which is really exciting. It made it a difficult job for the committee to make final selections, but that's a good challenge to have, right? But there's going to be a lot of sessions on DE&I and how it fits in various ways of your program. There's a lot of great sessions too on remote proctoring and what we've learned, right, since the pandemic and offering it that way. And so I think a lot of like lessons learned, how you're fair when you do, how you ensure your program is fair and offering it in that format. A lot of security sessions, because we know that's kind of a new challenge that has arisen for the field. And then of course we have a lot of the sessions that like we always offer. There's a couple good, really good legal sessions to think about, value of certification. And this year too, I think they did a good job of balancing content for those that are introductory. There's some job analysis, intro to job analysis level type sessions. And then as well as some advanced sessions to think about a little more strategically for your program. So we're going to be back to our full program that we had in 2019. So some jumpstart sessions, lots of sessions throughout the day too as well. So I think it's going to be a really good event, really good content at the conference this year.
Awesome, awesome. And then we also have like some smaller workshops ahead of the conference. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we do have pre-conference workshops that we'll offer on specific topics. A couple of those are on DE&I. There's probably, they're gonna be like a CCP prep one. I think, and there's some other ones on test security and going international as well. So there should be in some nice pre-conference workshops too. We're gonna be in Savannah. The dates are October 17th through 20th. And I heard it's a beautiful time of year too to go as well. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. And that's great. You know, I hope we got to share a lot of the I.C.E educational resources with everyone here and how to find them, what's coming up. Let me go ahead and throw this back up on the screen for everyone here. Here we have some important dates. Wait, sorry. We have some important dates coming up. Linda, you also mentioned the next registration period for the CCP would be in August, was it?
No, we'll open sometime in July, I believe.
Oh, okay. So opening sometime in July. Awesome, awesome. Well, you know, I hope we didn't bombard you guys with too much information, but you know, thank you for sitting in on this and thank you for listening to what we had to say. That really concludes my presentation for everyone today. So really at this point in the meeting, I would really just want to open this up for any open questions. If anybody wanted to, you know, jump on screen and ask some questions, feel free to do so now. We're at that point in time.